From the pyramids to Stonehenge, humans have left awe-inspiring structures that, to this day, leave us scratching our heads. Today, we're diving into 5 ancient sites that are as mysterious as they are magnificent. Imagine the technology used by our ancestors are not known to anyone, as how ancestors used such methods to make these happen. The video is going to make you think that there is enormous opportunities in the world of discovery. So let's dive into the fascinating facts of world's top 5 ancient sites that is mysterious and no one explained clearly as how they made these structures, when in the ancient times, there were no such advanced technology as we have today. Let's get started. 1. Saksaywaman, laser-like precision? First up, we're off to Peru. Here, the Incas have left behind a fortress with stones so finely cut, it's as if they wielded laser tech. Could you imagine not even sliding paper between them? How did they achieve this laser-like precision without our modern-day tools? That's a secret Saksaywaman holds tight. The remarkable issue is that nobody has been able to explain how the Incas had the technology to cut the stones the way they did, despite the fact that the fort is spectacular but doesn't match the scale or level of detail of many European castles. The structure was built in the first part of the 13th century, when limestone mortar was used to construct the majority of massive structures. The only thing holding the stones together at Saksaywaman is their sheer weight, which prevents them from moving in any direction. The odd thing is that the stones are carved so precisely that nothing can even be slid between them. The stone's edges are flawlessly flat, as if they had been laser cut, and not a single connecting surface is even a centimeter out of alignment. No other ancient structure in the world even comes close to how precisely flat and well-aligned the stones of Saksaywaman are, considering that people could have cut stone in the 13th century, but they mostly just chipped it away. The methods they employed and how they attained a degree of accuracy so high that it hasn't been attained since are still mysteries to this day. 2. Pyramids of Giza, monuments of mystery. Everyone recognizes these. But did you know there's no solid consensus on how these megastructures were built? Straight ramps, spiral ramps, interior pathways. Which one was it? And how did they achieve impeccable symmetry without a laser level? The pharaohs surely left behind puzzles, not just pyramids. Although there are many hypotheses on how the Giza pyramids were constructed, no one is certain. They must be the most well-known ancient structure in the entire world. The blocks may have been cut using the equipment available at the period, and with enough help, they could have been moved and lifted into position, but the degree of symmetry on a structure of this size is something that people of the time shouldn't have been able to do. Each pyramid has a precise square foundation that would have been accurate to less than an inch from corner to corner when covered in its flat outer layer, raising the question of how individuals without spirit levels or laser equipment managed to retain such symmetry on something so large. There are 3 main theories as to how the blocks were raised to the top, albeit this is also uncertain. The first is a long, straight ramp that the blocks would have been dragged up with sheer force. However, for such a ramp to have a mild enough slope to bring such massive stones up, it would need to be over a mile long and contain more blocks to complete the project. The main drawback of the second method is that it would have been impossible for them to achieve the finished product's perfectly straight lines if they had used a spiral ramp around the edges. Even if they had used a technology to achieve these alignments, it has never been seen on anything other than pyramids before or since. The third way makes use of an internal ramp that pulls blocks up to an upper location before lowering them to finish the lower areas. Although some of the pyramid's interiors do contain steep slopes, this does not explain how the ones without internal ramps were constructed. Now let's move to next mystery. 3. Gobekli Tepa, the dawn of architecture, 10,000 BC. Ice Age vibes, right? But in Turkey, early humans crafted Gobekli Tepa, which predates the pyramids by millennia. Imagine, a time when pottery was a future invention, yet here they built intricate structures. And then? They vanished, leaving this wonder buried and untouched. A carved and stacked stone temple-like building is hidden beneath a man-made hill in Turkey. The monument itself is not particularly striking because it lacks any intricate carvings or anything out of character for its location, yet it has been estimated that it was constructed approximately 10,000 BC. People were still living in the Ice Age at this time, thus even though the equatorial regions would have experienced the earliest thaw, they lacked the knowledge necessary to construct such structures. According to some perspectives, people living at the time were in the Neolithic period, a time when they had only learned how to make pottery and had not yet encountered any metals. This building is older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Beyond the question of how such ancient people were able to construct it in the first place, the reason it was abandoned is still a mystery. The monument was buried beneath tons of earth for some reason, but given that the planet's population at the time was estimated to be over 4 million, it is improbable that such highly developed people would have needed to conceal it from an opposing force. After burying it, whomever constructed it left the area and just vanished, leaving no trace behind. 4. Sajama Lines, Bolivia's puzzling paths. Imagine straight lines spanning miles without a single deviation. No, it's not a runway but the enigmatic Sajama Lines of Bolivia. What's their purpose? Roads to nowhere? Ancient art? Every theory seems as winding as the lines themselves. There are a number of lines between 3 and 10 feet broad and up to 11 kilometers long in western Bolivia. The Sajama Lines are so named because they are so near the Sajama volcano, but no one knows why they were erected or how their creators were able to maintain their straightness over such a great distance. Although some of the lines take curves and change course, the straight ones maintain an accuracy that is comparable to that of modern road construction procedures. This is all the more remarkable given that they did not have access to the same alignment equipment that we have today. The reason they were created in the first place is another important question, in addition to how they were able to keep them so straight. They don't seem to go anywhere, and even if there had been a few settlements nearby at the time, the lines frequently run in circles and offer illogical pathways. The vast majority of the lines don't appear to have gone anywhere in particular, and they don't create any sort of pattern or sign. It seems strange that early people would put in such a great deal of work to carve hundreds of miles of lines in the ground for what would appear to be absolutely no reason at all. 5. Stonehenge, Britain's ancient enigma. Stonehenge, a name synonymous with mystery. We know it's old, and we have ideas about how it was built. But why drag giant stones across 150 miles? Without massive boats or trucks, how and why did ancient Britons undertake such a Herculean task? It seems Stonehenge holds its stones and secrets close. The strange thing about this Stone Age structure, which stands in Wiltshire in modern England, is not how it was constructed, but rather why the building materials arrived from such a great distance. According to conventional wisdom, inhabitants of the Stone and Bronze Ages constructed these monuments by dragging the stones over wet logs and then tipping them up into already dug holes. The soil would have been removed to rest the top stones on the ones below after the top stones had been brought up an earth ramp. The issue with Stonehenge is that the stones used to construct it were transported 150 miles to the southwest of Wales from the Preseli Hills. Those enormous, hefty stones would have been nearly impossible to pull so far in one piece without breaking back when people didn't have boats big enough to do it. It also begs the question of why use stones from that particular place and at that exact distance. Ancient marvels, puzzles in stone. These sites are testaments to human capability and imagination. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to stay unsolved, to remind us of the endless wonders of our past. Intrigued? Want more mysteries unraveled, or perhaps tangled even more? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us in our next journey into the unknown. Until then, keep exploring and stay curious.